G'day, legends, and welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me as always is Willie. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, Jared. Pretty busy day. I've been flat out trying to get the game going, but for some reason my internet decided to take a sickie, and I ended up getting to see absolutely zero of the game this morning. So I've had to watch it. I've just finished watching it now.
The joys of being overseas, watching the game, and
Yeah.
all the good fun that comes with it. But on a positive, Willie, we get to watch the game, and it's a lot warmer over here. Like I was chatting to people on WhatsApp when the game was on. They're saying, yeah, it's going to be like -4 up in up at Paradise when the game's on, and I'm looking at the weather app. It's 21 degrees over here at the time the game was on. But, Paradise -4, at least you're not in Ibrox where it was -16. So, yeah, we had to have to take the mickey out of them when we can. So, podcast episode for a certain reason. Sweet -16, just because I don't know when we'll get the chance to how to do that. Morning heavy vibes. Stay warm, buddy. Stay warm. That's the easiest thing. So, yeah, interesting morning. It was, Willie, for me. You were saying you had issues with the internet for the game. I had a different issue. All right, so I started back at work yesterday after my summer holidays, and so get up early, kick off at 6:45 in the morning, perfect. Right when you're in the middle of getting ready to go to work / game finishing while you're at work. So what happens to me? And I didn't tell you this off air, Willie. I said I'll leave it for the pod. So my adventure of watching the game was this: watch the first 20 odd minutes, right? Get into the shower with the thing on loud in the commentary. We score a goal. Didn't see it because I was on the stream, right? Come out, watch the rest of it, fine. Driving to work in the second half, not watching the screen but have the commentary playing through my Bluetooth in my car so I can hear what's going on, and I can come back and watch the second half later on. When I get to the work car park, turn the radio off, have my phone in my pocket, walking in the front door till I get to my desk, the second goal happened. So as I was watching the game live, there was like 10 minutes of the game I actually didn't see live looking at the screen, and that's when we scored both goals. So it was, I think after that I was like, maybe I should just keep the phone away and hopefully we bang in a few more. So it was an interesting morning on that front.
You should definitely turn the phone off more often when we're playing if you're on the audio only, right?
Yeah. John Clements is saying, I'm sure the Green Brigade sang about Jared and Willie last night. Well, they did about everyone. We're going to talk about that a little later on, but yeah,
Yeah.
100%. They would have had some song about us saying, that we're hacks or something. But yeah, we'll just go with the game, Willie.
Yeah.
Starting lineup. So it's pretty much what we had on the weekend. One change that happened during warm-ups. We had Nicholas Kuhn get a thigh/hip flexor injury. So he was out. Yang got the start. Everyone else was who played on our last game on the weekend. So Schmeichel in goals, Johnson, Team America in the middle, in Trusty and Carter Vickers, and then Taylor at left back. Callum McGregor, Arna Engels, and Luke McCowan. And then up front, Ida with Maida and Yang out wide. So looking at that lineup, I thought when it was Kuhn, this is a nice strong lineup. Good to see us get 2 consistent games on the go with the same lineup. Interesting, Kyogo didn't come back in, but with some of the rumours floating around about him, it makes sense that Brendan would play Ida as his starting striker and try and run him into some form. But yeah, I wasn't too shocked or anything at all. I thought the lineup was pretty good heading into the game. What was your thoughts?
Nah, when I saw the lineup, I wasn't really too surprised. It was pretty much unchanged from the last week. But the biggest shock was that Kuhn didn't actually make the starting lineup at all. He pulled up injured in the warm up. So, again, I mean, Jan got a bit of a run out, and it's good to see him getting some more minutes in his legs. And yeah, he did okay this time round, but he's definitely not as lethal as Kuhn is out on that right hand side.
Yeah, well, for me, normally we keep the player focus to the end. We'll just talk all over it. I've just had one of my lights behind my screen just like turn itself off because it's too hot. So good fun. But yeah, we've what I found with Yang, and I was going to mention this in player focus, but we can talk about a couple other players then. Is he is so frustrating to watch. And as you said, there's a massive drop off from Kun to Yang. Ideally, if he was fit, it probably would have been Jamesy Forrest starting, with Yang still as the backup. Not as much of a drop off from Kun to Jamesy, but take Jamesy out, it's a massive drop off from. It's like the steps down the ladder. Basically, you skip a couple and it's an uncomfortable climb. So, yeah, it was. The thing that frustrates me about Yang is he looks. He's always trying. Okay, he's always trying to cut inside, so it becomes pretty predictable. And when he stays out wide, he gets to a certain spot, basically between the top of the box and the penalty spot, and he just stands still and gets in the way of the winger, the fullback trying to overlap. The amount of times you can see Alistair Johnson bombing down the right, trying to overlap, and he looks up and Kun's there, so then he has to change, not Kun, sorry, Yang's there, and he has to come inside, duck inside himself, and then there's two defenders there and he can't get across away. It was frustrating. When Yang got actually cut in and made space for him, there was the overlap, but the ball didn't get played. So it didn't get out to Johnson for the cross. So to me, that was frustrating. I don't know how everyone else saw Young's performance. Let us know in the comments, but let us know as well in the comments and your thoughts on any particular players. So when we go to the player focus stuff, we can bring up your comments, discuss all of that. But yeah, I thought it was a fair drop off in terms of the rest of the team and then Yang. Willie, you got anything you want to add from what you've seen of the game in the first half?
Nah, it was. I mean, it was like a really good, enjoyable first half of football. We were both brilliant in and out of possession. I mean, when we lost the ball, we were quick to close them down and win it back. We were first to the second balls. Taylor was effectively playing as a left-sided pivot. I mean, if you talk about playing a double pivot in Europe and not to protect the back four, we didn't need the protection. So Taylor had slotted in there beside Callum McGregor when we were playing a double pivot with the attacking play in front of him, which allowed McCowan and Engels to sort of rotate wherever they wanted to be on the pitch. You know what I mean? Whichever side the attack was going down, the two of them can move down there with always knowing that there's somebody in behind them. And CCV and Trusty, they were just as effective as anything in that first half. So I was really impressed with the tempo and the pressing and the passing in the game. They weren't just like against St Mirren, they seemed to just be horseshoeing it around because there was no openings. But this time, they were passing it around with purpose and they were starting to move the Dundee United players around. Okay, we didn't get that many shots. I think we had 8 on target or something like that for the first half, but we were definitely moving them around. Like 91% passing accuracy just tells you how good we were and how dominant we were.
Yep, 100% Willie. And like I just spoke about Yang only, but yeah, the first half. Like on Monday's pot noodle, I was talking about I want us to get back to the speed of play and the one, 2 touches max that we had under Ange. Get the ball, quick pass, move. And we had that in this game, particularly in the first half. There was a lot of movement off the ball. There was quick passes and the tempo was up and about. So that was good to see. And yeah, we're really just, I don't know. I'm okay. I'm going to go on another tangent here about a player, but Arne Engels, it's like 4 games. He's probably the best player on the pitch for us, and he's had that 6 months now at the club. We were talking about a couple of weeks back where Kun had that 6 months second half of last season to bet himself in, and he's hit the ground running. And now people were bagging out Engels 4 or 5 weeks ago saying, oh, he's crap, he's not worth the money. Well, at the end of the day, you have him out there now, and he's probably been our best player the last 3 in particular, possibly in the last 4 games. Like the way he's getting his positioning and he's looking comfortable with the players around him at the level, knowing what to do. Yeah, it's just great to see his development and the way he's moving along. So yeah, I thought he was good. And something in particular as well, watching Luke, and I'm just like, first half, I'm sitting there going, geez, the way he's playing now, he would have been a menace under Ange in that press. His movement, he just busts a gut and he just goes and just keeps running and pressing and harrying. And his positioning on the field, whether it's in the middle or when he even went right in the second half. It's yeah, some player there. Like I think the balance between Engels and Luke is probably one of the strengths of that we have in the team now. Trusty and Carter Vickers together, amazing combination, and they're balanced. And then if you keep Engels and Luke together, those two complement each other so much. It's great to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, McCowan had a fantastic game too. I was really impressed with the way they moved around. Like I say, they move quite freely as Taylor was and McCallum were sitting behind him. They created that box midfield and they could sort of rotate in and out of position, and it really did give Dundee United a lot of trouble. Dundee United tried to stick sort of rigid lines, and they just seemed to work that space in between it, and it was effective as anything. Like it was really good to watch because, like I said, the tempo and the purpose of the passing was all in there. It was all crisp, and it was good. It was a joy to watch. Like
Yeah, you're saying that, but the way those two work between in the pockets and in the space was just great. It was like one fills a space, the next one tries to make a move or make a run. So it was good to see. And yeah, just overall, I thought the balance from our back line, Greg Taylor, solid. Centre backs, solid. Johnson, I thought he played decent. Casper doing Casper things. And then you get in the middle of the park and you got Kelmack in front of them. That back six is just I'm impressed by that. Like the way those guys played together, more of the same. We need to get that stable foundation there of is that what the lineup is going to be? The back six is going to be against Young Boys Burn? Because if it is, keep them playing week after week, every game until we get them so they've got that run of games and everything together, because that's what I think we need more than anything. The most important game for us this month is against Young Boys in the Champions League. So yeah, I'm happy with the performance from them as well. Overall, the squad, we did well, and second half we'll roll into that. Like we'll talk about the goals after that, Willie. So yeah, I just thought the second half was more of the same. There was a bit of a patch where we dropped off for a little bit, maybe 10 minutes, but we got back into it. We made some subs, freshened things up, and off we went. What was that chant you put in our group chat, Willie? One of the guys
Robert Gibbs.
that said was saying that what's it called, Palmer shits him, and you're like, are you Robert Gibson in disguise?
Are you Robert Gibson in disguise? Yeah. He was. I think Dan, who's dearly departed Dan from the Thursday Sesh, has now moved to the Monday, the pot noodle. He was having a go at Palmer in the group chat, and I thought, are you Robert Gibson in disguise?
Yeah, no, some good banter. So
Yeah.
yeah, your thoughts on the second half, Willie?
Yeah, another 45 minutes that we can be quite highly satisfied with. United had a bit more possession, and yeah, they had, I think, from like the 50th minute to the 55th minute, they had a bit of a surge forward then, and then there was another point about 70 minutes into the game when they had 5 or 6 minutes when they were getting up the pitch. But for all the extra possession they had and the attacks that they were making, they never really troubled us. Like we seemed to like be able to deal with anything they were throwing at us defensively. So it was good to see that. But much like the first half, like we just pressed the ball and we moved them from side to side, and yeah, we just sort of worked the ball around the pitch and just tired them out. And eventually we got the second goal. The passing actually dropped off slightly, but still in the high 80s. And then we took on the subs after. I think they had a little bit of a spell, and then we took on a couple of subs, and it just gave the team that little bit of a G up. We watched Kyogo and Hatati coming on. I think it was Young and Ida came off, and then McCallum was pushed over to right. But Kyogo's movement just tires defenders out. They're scared to move him because he crosses zones, and if they're sticking to a rigid zonal system, then he crosses the zones, and players don't want to go with him or come with him. And then if they're man marking him, then he'll drag them all over the pitch. I really do enjoy watching Kyogo. I really hope he doesn't leave us. But that's another story. But like I say, the changes brought on the fresh that was needed at the right moment. And Hatati, he actually looked in the mood for the game too when he came on. So it was good to see that as well.
About time, hey?
Aye, I know. I know.
He's had,
A couple of weeks too late.
he's had a bit of a trot basically where he's been a bit rough around the edges where, you're looking at him playing
Yeah.
and you look the old body language experts from the COVID season, you're looking at him going, what's he doing? Does he want to be here? And you could see when he came on, he was like, all right, it's go time. Let's make it happen. Him and Kyogo just had that look about him like,
Yeah.
let's get another goal. Let's do it. And as soon as you see
Yeah.
them coming on, you're like, yeah, one of those two is going to score. I was thinking Kyogo would, as you were saying with
I
his
thought
move.
Kilgood scored. I thought he'd scored with that header. I thought, wow, how did he get that? Like the way he got it in behind to the near post, but he was already past the post. It was a great header, and I thought it'd gone in, but I just felt bad that it didn't. Like, because I just want to see Kyogo scoring goals because it just makes him happy. Like, you know what I mean? And just the happier he is, the more goals he scores. Like, so.
We need to bring it back. The Kyogo, when he scores, we need this to come back because that's when he was at his happiest. We just need the whole
Yeah.
crowd to get out one time at him. That'll be amazing.
Uh,
Yeah. So the goals, we'll got to that point. So first half, it was a bit of pinball, really. That's the way I look at it. We get the ball, we try and have a shot, goes off someone's ass, someone else has a shot, the keeper saves it, and then it ends up at Mater's feet, bang, goal. He's been in some class form, and I saw a funny meme somewhere, and it was like Mater, shaved head, one goal, and then it was Mater with hair, and it's like goal, 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 all these balls along mark. How many goals he's had? He's hitting some good form. I'm really enjoying what he's bringing, and even in that last, I don't know how many minutes it was, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, when Luke was taken off, Palmer came on, and they put Palmer on the left and they pushed Mater across to the right. He showed his versatility. The fact that he can play anywhere across the front three, it's he's just a great player for us. I think he's undervalued by a lot of people, but what he brings to our team, like what Maeda brings to our team is just you can't really replicate it. You'd need probably 3 or 4 players to be able to do that.
his numbers are up there. Everyone's going on about how great a season Kuhn's having. He's got all these assists, he's got all these goals, and it's phenomenal. It is. He's having a phenomenal season. It's not really pointed out that much in the media how close behind him Mieda actually is right now for assists and goals. He's hot on his heels, and it's like he's pivotal to everything we do. Like, yeah, we need backup there. So if he is actually having an off day or he's feeling a bit jaded from the international travel, that we can put somebody in there just to give him a little bit of a rest. But he's pivotal to that left hand side of the team, like, because like what we go on about when I talked about the first half, I talked about Greg Taylor inverting and sitting beside Callum McGregor. I mean, Dyson Maeda will sit quite happily. Trusty will push slightly more to the left, and Dyson Maeda will cover the whole left side of the flank. And it's just the energy levels that guy seems to have. It's just phenomenal. It just doesn't seem to stop with him sometimes.
I'm going to say it. I think Maeda's little toe's probably fitter than me. Let's be honest. Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting player, but yeah, we've got a comment here from Andrew saying we just don't play to Kyogo's strengths anymore. And that's part of it as
Yeah,
well. We look to recycle the ball rather than go wide and if Kyogo's offside, get it to a winger and then just play it across behind the defenders before they recover to him, so just tap it in.
yeah.
So yeah, what we'll do, Willie, is I'll just go through some comments and then we'll go from there. So Heavy Vibes is saying Engel's showing us he's as good as Rogers says he is. Absolutely. Gaddafi Semtex is saying we need some quality up top. That's the thing at the moment. Both our strikers, they're like, neither of them has hit absolute peak form this season. And we're still banging in goals, mainly from the wings, like as you were saying about Maida and then also with Kun. Like you get the two of them and we're putting in a lot of effort and a lot of goals from there. But if our strikers, one of our strikers actually catches fire and starts banging in as well, look out. It's gonna get messy for a team somewhere. Um,
Absolutely. Like,
then we've got McLaughlin is saying Palmer looks more likely to produce something than Yang is, and that's saying something. RL77 is saying Yang, great feat, but as all the decision making of Mikey Johnson. And that's also saying something.
He is the Korean Mikey Johnson, isn't he? That?
Yeah, you've said that in our group chat a couple of times, Willie. And then we've got McLaughlin saying we should use Palmer over the next couple of weeks if he's wanting a move because he'll be trying to put himself in the shop window. I actually thought of that during the game. I thought not just him, but there was a couple of others there that I was like, maybe we should be playing him if they want to move. Is that why Greg Taylor's getting the games, or is it because Brendan's trying to prove a point? And then you got a couple of the other boys there. So maybe Hatade came on looking all fired up because he wants to put himself in the shop window to play well in that in the upcoming Champions League game and get a move by the end of January. Who knows? So yeah, it could be an interesting one. And then McLaughlin saying about Palmer as well. You never know; he could actually score a big goal. With something I've got to figure something out. Smell the glove. We really need two wingers and shift Yang and Palmer on. I think that's the plan. I actually reckon what we'll do is we'll probably only get the one winger in on the left because we still have Jamesy to come back from injury to back up Kun on the right. But that guy that's going to come in, if we get Balish, what's his name, Ange Balishwaka, the guy we're talking about from Royal Antwerp, if we were to bring him in, he can play anywhere, right, left, and he can play up top. So, and he can also play in the 10. So if you got someone like that to come in with the versatility we've got up front, they will cover off a lot. And then in the off season, we'll probably get another one in.
Yeah.
And then just going through here, Mahesh is saying a few nervy moments second half when Dundee United went man-to-man. Celtic don't handle this well against anyone. And then McLaughlin saying it makes you wonder how he would handle 25 minutes of sustained pressure. Well, we saw that in the Dortmund game. We saw that in the derby. We'll leave it there. Gaddafi Semtex is saying we need to shift some dead wood and refresh. And then I'll just come through here, see what else we've got. Smell the Glove is saying I wouldn't mind in this window to get rid of the shit, free up squad places and wages as long as we get players in earlier in the more attractive summer window, especially with Champions League qualifications. What do you think on that, Willie?
It'd be good to get players in now to give them 6 months to just to get a feel of the place, get a run of it, just to bed themselves into the team. So when we do go into the Champions League qualifiers, it's only one or two players we need to augment the squad rather than making all wholesale changes and having to play near beat on the centre half.
Yep. McLaughlin's saying halfway through Dr. Joe's tenure, he decided to put Larson up front, right up front. He was 27 at the time. Could we try this with Maeda? He's only 26, and I think he'd become the main striker. He's already ahead of Kyogo in the Japanese squad as a striker. So I wouldn't be against that. I've said a few times I don't think we're going to be able to bring in a third-string striker if we keep Kyogo and we've got Ida as 1A, 1B. Johnny Kenny could be the guy who'd come in and be that third stringer, but is he going to want to do that? I don't know. So I've already said, like, if we were to do that, have Maeda play a bit of striker as the third stringer there. But I also think Maeda's a bit more of a Brendan-type striker, suiting Brendan's system a lot more than what Kyogo would. So if Kyogo was to move on and we bring in someone on the left, then if you're going to play Maeda as a striker, then you need to bring in two on the left, 100%. But then I'm worried you're robbing your left hand to feed your right hand, basically.
Yeah.
With everything Maeda brings on the left, the work rate and everything.
Yeah.
I'll bring this up here. We'll talk about the Greg Taylor situation quickly here, Willie. So Heavy Vibes are saying give Taylor the cash, get rid of the dross to free up his wages and sign KT. So with that, what I've heard, okay, and I'm not any in the know agent, but previously when Jackie Mack was Taylor's agent, they were asking for 18 grand a week. He ends up getting about 12 or whatever in his current contract. Now, he's asking for about 25K a week now. that would put him in in our top 7 or 8 earners to be a backup to KT, who's going to be on 35, 40K. Let's be honest. I can't see us putting 65K a week into the left back position. It's the same situation I see where if we're trying to buy, another. So what we've done down back, right, a goalkeeper, you're going to be paying Casper good money. You got Sinisalo underneath him on lower money, being the understudy. It's got to have that production line. I don't think we're going to absolutely load up in one position and pay big money like that to a backup. So, yeah, that's just how I see it. What do you reckon, Willie?
Yeah, I mean, if KT's coming in, and by all accounts, it's pretty much a done deal now. It's just a case of dotting the i's and crossing the t's. Then I can't see them paying that kind of money to Greg. I don't think they would pay that kind of money to Greg Taylor even if KT didn't come. Like I don't think he's worth that kind of money. I don't think he should be in the top earners at the club. Okay, he's had a couple of good games, and I think he deserves credit for his performance last night. I thought he had a great game. I thought he was all over that left hand side. He was sitting in the defensive midfield sort of slot. He was out at left back. There was times he was up the pitch as well. He did have one of his better games, but for each and every one of the good games he's had this season, he's had 2 or 3 bad ones to back that up. And I just don't think his season's going as well as some of the other seasons he's had. And for me, part of me thinks he's already checked out. And I've said it before. I think it's just time to cut, just to amicably part company with the guy. Just that he wants to go his way, we'll go our way, and we'll just all move on.
Yeah, plus, if he's wanting 25K a week, he's not going to get that with us as a backup, but he'll get that as a starter. If he was to go to Dinamo Zagreb, he'd be the starter, earning that money. If he goes to the MLS, he'll get that money as a starter. He's not going to get it with us because he's not going to be the regular starter. And I think we look more balanced when you got Valle playing on the left, Johnson on the right. I've been saying that for weeks because it gives us 2 traditional fullbacks, which suits the way Brendan wants us to play, where they can bomb up and down and cut in, overlap, do all the work. Taylor's more interested in coming up and being another defensive midfielder. So I don't really see him getting that kind of money. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one how that plays out. Now, Mahesh has got a stat here, Willie. Maida's attack contribution is 0.63 goals per game, 4th behind Kun, Kyogo, and McCowan. So that's actually, there you go, he's doing pretty well.
Yep.
And then Andrew Galea, when we're talking about wingers, what about Tilio? Tilio's the biggest flop in memory. I'd put him in the Dirk Boerger territory. The issue with Tilio is he can't even stay fit down here in the A-League. Mickey Moynihan's making a good point here. Board won't open the biscuit tin until after the Young Boys game. I agree. I think they're going to try and hold off as much as they can until they know, all right, we're through. We're going to be in the knockouts. Let's strengthen for that. Because if they sign someone now, they can't play that game anyway.
It's just,
and
I don't know.
Heavy vibes are saying here, KT plays 20, 30 games, so he needs Taylor. Yeah, we play 60 games a season. And that's the thing. Can you see the board paying 25 grand a week to Taylor to back up for 30, 40 games a season? Or do you think they'd rather pay 10, 12 grand a week to someone like Valle? Or, as I've mentioned before, get Jack McKenzie from Aberdeen. He's out of contract at the end of the season. Bring him in as your backup behind behind Tierney. And then he can play those 30 games or whatever, and you're laughing. So, yeah, it's going to be good. We'll see what happens. Smell the Glove is saying the KT saga is really boring the hell out of me now. 40K a week for Hospital Ward 5. Just rent the room. Andrew Galea, with KT, you'll end up relying on the backup player. So, yeah, it's be interesting to see what happens overall. But, yeah, who was your man of the match? We'll finish that off quickly, Willie, and then we'll go into a couple other things.
Man of the match was Arnie Engels. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. He had a fantastic performance. He was all over that pitch, man. Everything seemed to be going through him. He just sort of floated about that pitch, picking the ball up left, right, and centre. Just recycling it perfectly back when he needed to, passing it forward when he wanted, taking shots. His corners were on point. I thought he had a fantastic game, right? So for me, it would be Arnie Engels, and just behind him, I would have had Austin Trusty. I thought Austin Trusty had a fantastic game too. Like,
You just caught me out there because I was about to say my top three. Engels, man
all
of the
right,
match.
okay.
Engels, man of the match. It was going to be Trusty number 2 and Luke McCowan number 3. That was going to be my top 3 in that order. And I thought, oh, he's mentioned McCowan and he's mentioned Engels. Sweet, I've got Trusty here. I'm going to be good. And then you said it. I'm just laughing because I'm like, Trusty got me.
Sorry, mate. Like, didn't mean to take your thunder there. Like,
Yeah, you do. Come on now. That's it. I'm going to get angry.
oh no, it's going to head, comrade.
Fun times. But no, that was all good. That was a good result overall. 16 points ahead of the other mob. I think that they've still got to play. I think when they playing, is it tonight?
It'll be tomorrow morning now. At some
Yeah.
point now. I'm not sure. Like,
I hope they
just
drop
want to
no
quickly
points.
say. Just want to quickly say, McLaughlin P's gone on about Stefan Bones there. I actually saw Stefan Bones play for Celtic in a testimonial game in Brouhaha against Brouhaha Rangers, and he wasn't very good in that either. Like, he was pretty bad in that game. Paul Caddis played it right. Fullback, was it right or left back? I can't remember. But Paul Caddis played that night too. He was going to be the next big thing. That was quite some time ago, though.
Yep. So heavy vibes. Forgot about the Sheep's left back. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, I suppose. But yeah, he's a quality player. Andrew Galea is saying, I don't understand the Taylor slagging. He's been a brilliant Celtic player. I don't have a problem with him. I think as a player, he's been good servant for us. He's done well. He's got lots of trophies. But I'm just looking at it purely from a business point of view. I don't see the club spending the amount of money that he's apparently asking for someone who's going to be a backup, particularly if Tierney comes in. So, and if you're in his position where you've been the starter, are you going to want to suddenly become a backup, even if you're still going to play 30 games a season? Nah, can't see it. And the guy coming in would be in front of you if he's fit in the national team too. So you're not. I just can't. I just look at it that way. The club won't spend that money for him for his career. He's going to want more. I think we're probably at a natural parting of the ways sort of thing. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, he is the weak link, though. I mean, when teams from Europe will come and scout us, they'll look at where can we exploit, what is the weak link in that team, and straight away they're going to identify Greg Taylor. And it's not his fault. Greg Taylor plays to his own level, and as a team, we need to progress and get better in the positions across all over the pitch. Eventually, players will leave and other players will come in, and some players will age and their game will drop off. But Greg Taylor is an SPL standard player. He's not a European standard player. And if we're going to progress in Europe and get better as a club, then he is the position that. I mean, Ange looked at left backs. People before left back's a position we always seem to rotate a lot in. It's one that chops and changes quite regularly. But I just think it's like you say, it's just time for a natural parting of the ways. Like,
yeah, I have to agree. I'm thinking as well, let's being honest here, that you're talking about the natural progression, all that sort of stuff, right? And is Kyogo getting to that point as well, you think? He's getting what is he, 29, 28, 29, something like that. He's got one big move left in him to progress in Europe. Do we need someone? I'm just going to go on a tangent here. I just had a look. We know Brendan loves a former player that he's worked with. Is he going to look at going, okay, someone else who's a potential free agent in the summer, and Odson Edward, do we bring him in? He's on loan at Leicester. He comes back in. You know he's proven in the Champions League. So then you have Odson, you have Peter, you have Maeda as your third string striker. Do you look to do that and sell Kyogo off to Atlanta if that's what the rumours are? I'm not saying that I want that to happen. I'm just thinking if that's the natural progression, it could be. It's just how it works out. Like there needs to be a constant evolution, and you know what Rogers is like. Is that something that he'd look at?
Yeah, I definitely. I think this will be Kyogo's last season at Celtic. As much as I hate to say it, because I really love watching Kyogo play. I love the energy he brings to the team. Some of his finishing is just lethal at times too. He's a hand scalper. He's a joy to watch, but it's becoming more and more evident as the weeks go by that this formation and this style of football isn't suiting Kyogo's game, and he's starting to look unhappy as a person. And for me, like, yeah, I mean, we all want to see that big smile week in, week out. We want to see him jumping up and down, waving his hands at the fans at the end of each game. Like, but it's not. It's I don't know. There's times when Armida comes on and Celtic start playing. They play slightly differently to suit Armida, and you watch some of the balls and you think, why are they playing like this now? Because that's the kind of balls Kyogo would just feed off of. And then when Kyogo's playing, you think, well, this is kind of a game for Armida that may suit Armida better. Right now, we're not having much luck with our strikers, like, but to yeah, it breaks my heart to say it, but I do think this may be Kyogo's last season at Celtic. Like.
Yeah, that thing you were just talking about. It's I've noticed it too, and I'm just trying to get my wording right here. But what I'm seeing is Kyogo makes his little duck in like the false nine sort of role, comes in to like present for it. The ball doesn't come to him; it goes to the wingers. Then he turns and makes his run, and we're not getting the early crosses into him that suits him. When Ida's on, because he's that extra size and everything, he comes an extra step or two deeper than Kyogo is. The ball actually comes to him. Then he passes it off to the secondary players making runs off him. Guys like Luke, guys like Arnie, particularly overnight in that game. And you got your wingers. And then suddenly he turns and makes his run. And then he's in a position. And then I noticed that the ball comes in and he's probably a step behind where Kyogo would be. So it's a combination of, all right, we just got to, that's what I was saying earlier on, get a run of games with him in there and try and play Ida into form because it's not really happening with Kyogo there. But yeah, I'm going to bring up a comment from McLaughlin here. I think we've done well to keep these players for 4 seasons. Yeah, and as he says here, they're usually off ski within 2 to 3 seasons. And that's something that, what was it that Ange said? We've got to learn not to get too attached to our players. Like, there's a natural evolution. And yeah, Eder needs, as Craigie White saying, Eder needs that game. He needs to keep playing. So at the moment, the way I see it is we look a lot more potent up front with the big man leading the line.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like I like Big Ida too. He needs a goal. He needs a couple of goals in successive games just to get his confidence back going again. Because he's another player who looks like his head might be starting to drop a little bit because there's a bit of a drought going on with his scoring form. But this whole conversation about Kyogo leaving is breaking my heart. To be honest with you, like,
Yep. Sure is. But, we've got to be mature about it and talk about it. So what we'll
yeah.
do is we'll leave that there. I wanted to get your opinion, Willie, on something about the whole Brendan Rodgers press conference stuff over the last week, right? I want to get your thoughts on it because I've seen some stuff here. He said some of what he's saying is right. Other things, how he said it is complete, absolute dog shite, in my opinion, absolute rubbish. Shouldn't have been said. But some of the things he has said are right. So I'm at that point where I just want to get your opinion. I want to see the comments section's opinion here because I want to know what your thoughts are on it. There's also been suggestions that he's working his ticket and agitating for a move back to the EPL. The West Ham job is what he was linked with, but that's just been filled with Graham Potter overnight. So realistically, that position's not available, but is this giving you those vibes of what we saw leading up to when he left for Leicester in the past?
No, it's not. I just think he's just been angry with the way things have panned out on the day. Um, I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of what he said. I just think it's the tone and the way he said it that was all wrong. It just, if you're going to come out and make a point, look, Greg Taylor's broken his nose, and you're chanting another guy's name, it's not a good look, guys. Come on, let's not do that. It's all about the way you present that argument. He just came out and like the whole argument sounded a little bit condescending, and that's why the fans were and why there is such a backlash to the whole comments and that. But you could tell looking at his face during the interview, he was pissed off, and he was lashing out, and it was just like, well, the fans got it. They're singing other players' names and they're booing the ball going backwards, and it's just. I like to say, I may not totally disagree with what his point he's trying to make, but the tone that he used to put it across is why it's all sort of blown up.
Yep, 100% really agree with you. I think some of what he said too, like the comment the Craigie White's referring to here, the comment, if I know football, that was piss poor. And yeah, it was just a bit of an interesting one. Like some of the comments were just, I don't know. As Heavy Vibes are saying, Rogers is venting. He's feeling he's not getting backed enough by the fans or the board. Is he feeling? I think I've got two different thoughts on that, right? But okay, so what I'm thinking it's one of these two things. It's either he's wanting Taylor and he's wanting Tierney, and he's cracking the shits because his standards are higher than what the board's willing to finance and do to progress the club. And if that's the case, I understand that as a fan. As fans, we all want to see Celtic progress. So I want to see him basically fighting, having the club's back, right? But then the other option is instead of maybe it was all tactically done because he and we're all and people are commenting because last time he lost to the Huns at Ibrox, he was gone not long after, and now this is his second time he's lost to him. Maybe he's just thinking, all right, rather than there be a witch hunt about my tactics and all that. If I do this, it's a deflection tactic to take the pressure off my players not performing, us getting our tactics wrong, and everything else. Brendan's the sort of guy with the type of thought process. Wouldn't put it past him if he was actually doing this. He was playing chess and while everyone else is playing checkers on that regard. So it could be that. But regardless of what happens, you've got to take, as a manager or as a player, if you play like absolute rubbish, you've got to be able to take the criticism. If you want the pats on the back and the applause and your name sung from the terraces when you're playing well and winning, if you're losing or you're not playing well, you've got to be willing to accept it.
I mean, there is points to that as well. Like, I mean, if I make a mistake at work, I'll go in and I'll correct it. But the last thing I want is somebody sitting there pointing out where I've gone wrong, why I've gone wrong. I know myself where I've gone wrong, and if people are having a go at you for why you've gone about making that mistake, then it can get you angry, and it's probably just a little bit of that as well. Look, we haven't done this right. We've got absolutely scattered by Rangers, and it's pissing me off. And people are pointing it out, and it's probably just gnawing away at the back of him, and it's just sort of came out at the wrong time. The wrong question was asked at the wrong time, and it's all come boiling out, right? So.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm just going to bring up some comments here. So, RL77 is saying it's all much ado about nothing. In my opinion, people are losing their minds on Radio Clyde. On that, back in the 90s when things weren't going well, we only had phone-ins. That was about it. Like, imagine if we had Twitter back then. Oh God, not ideal. So it's a bit of that as well. Yeah. Smell the Glove is saying, never apologise, Brendan. I don't want a weak manager bound at every individual fan request. Let him manage. And then I think he's pissed off with the last 2 Huns games, even though we won the cup. Mahesh is saying, I'm with Rogers on this. Taylor's been a loyal servant. Fans need to show respect. It wasn't Rogers' tone that was the problem. Fans need to tone down. I don't have a problem. Okay, it's going to sound strange here. I don't have a problem with what's happened, right? The thing is, I don't like being told what we can and can't do by the manager as fans, because the fans are the club. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So carrying on saying we can't do the Kieran Tierney chant because we've been linked with him in the media, and we're getting a bit excited because it's one of our own potentially coming home. It's a guy who's a legend of the terraces, used to have the megaphone. Of course you're going to want to chant for him. It's like, as people joked, you do the Henrik Larsson chant. Is that disrespectful to Adamita, who was playing in that position last night? No. It's just showing respect. And I've been at A-League games here where suddenly they show a former player and you rip your chant out at that player just to show him love. Show him a bit of love. And it's just, yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
He could go full Jim McClayton from the 1990s when just turn around, cut that camera and just smack the journalist. I don't know if you remember that one or not. John Barnes was the journalist. He asked a question. Jim McClayton was just off air. He's like, what kind of fucking stupid questions that? Just punched him right in the chin. That'd be another way of dealing with it, I suppose. Like,
yeah. There's a few other comments here as well. So McLaughlin saying maybe the players have said to Brendan Rodgers, what is it with these moaning, see you next Tuesdays? And then on the back there he goes, look at Alistair Johnson's face last year after we beat Ross County. And then he's followed up with, I can see his point though, we win, and people still moan. Craigie White saying, yeah, I'm still behind him. He's a top coach. We just have a wee moment we all have. Yeah, I've had my moments where I crack the shits, whatever. You get on with it. Robert Gibson, there he is. Great cross by Palmer, outside of the foot in the lead up to the second goal. Still a wanker. There it is. Knew that comment was going to be coming at some point. And then Smell the Glove. Makes a good point here. I've come off other podcasts with the bloody entitled snowflakes constantly Brendan bashing. Do they want Lennon back losing leagues and cups? I know I don't. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't want Brendan out. He's entitled to his opinion. I just don't like being told what chants and that we can sing from the terraces if it's relating to our players. And that ties into the next thing there, because I was going to ask you, Willie, how good was the retro chant songbook from last night's game against Dundee United? Now, there was a comment early on here. John Clements was saying, I'm sure the Green Brigade sang about Jared and Willie last night, and then he's followed it up with, I was trying to tick off players that got a song, Jinky, Jota, Paddy McCaw, Charlie Mulgrew, and to finish it off, Martin O'Neill and Kieran Tierney. Hope Brendan took it in with good spirits. That's the sort of thing. They're all people there who played at the club legends, or, people who have made a massive difference. If they've got a song, they deserve it. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
nah, I like to hear all the old songs from time to time. The Charlie Mulgrew one that I forgot all about. I remember singing that on a substation, and I was working with a couple of guys. There was the Prof and Bill. And Bill was a big Rangers fan, and he went outside for something, and I started singing that song. I didn't hear him come back in, and he said, "Cat, what the fuck are you doing singing about hands when I'm around? Are you fucking for real?" I'm like, oh, sorry, Bill, I didn't see you come back in there. Like, it was good to hear some of the old ones. The Arthur Boric song was going in that as well at one point. Right?
Yeah, it was great to hear. So, yeah, it's going to, it was funny there, but off the back of that, comment section, let us know which players in our current team need to have their own chant/song made for them. There's a few players there, like, yeah, I'd love to see, let's get some sort of chants out there, see what comes in. I want to see what comes up. Is there a chant for Casper yet?
I don't think so, no. Do you know, for all the service he's given us, they don't have a chant for James Forrest, which is absolutely scandalous, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, the amount of medals and accolades that boy has, and we don't have a chant for him. It's criminal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Speaking of something, you mentioned James Forrest. What I found funny is this morning watching the game, I look on the right wing and I see this guy leaning forward, sprinting hard, doing the James Forrest head down sort of run. And I'm like, but James is injured. I look, it's Alistair Johnson because his hair's a little bit longer and he's on the same side of the field. Starting to look like his mate. So, yeah, we got Jamesy Forrest. Smell the Glove saying we've got to make Greg Taylor a song. Should have just done Super Greg Taylor or something like that because it's such a simple one, basic, just to keep it on. You can't really go wrong with that. But yeah, Willie, there's a question for you from Andrew Galea. Do you go to the A-League now?
No, it's something I really need to start getting into. I just don't have time. I mean, I live in Hawke's Bay, which is 3 hours from Wellington and 5 hours from Auckland, so I'm a bit too far away from either to be going to a game. But I really need to start getting into watching highlights and sort of picking one of the two teams and supporting them and getting behind them and that. Like, but I just haven't got time. I've got two young kids who soak up all of my spare time. Like, so
All I was going to say is if the North Island of New Zealand is a upside down triangle, Willie's in the top right, over on the right side, on the wall on the right near the top corner. The others are at the bottom left and the top left. So yeah, he's nowhere close by.
yeah, horrible roads too. Like, well, the one to Wellington's picking up a bit. Like, but I haven't been to many. Like, to be honest.
Just get your Willie out, Willie, and they'll get out of your way.
Yeah.
Had to say it. All right, so on Saturday, I'm loving it. We got a game Saturday. What is it? 12:30 kickoff. So that'll be handy. It's not an absolute murderous kickoff time for us, like 2 a.m. It's going to be amazing. So we're playing Ross County away up in Dingwall. So how are you feeling heading into the game, Willie?
You've got to be confident going into this one. The way we responded really, really well to the Huns defeat, so you can only go into this game with a bit of confidence. Like, we know it's up in the Highlands. It's the middle of winter. It's going to be a tough game on a tight pitch. It's going to be cold. It's probably going to be wet. But County are on good form. They've got 3 wins from their last 5 games, a draw and a defeat in there too for the Dingwall Jippos. So yeah, it's going to be a tight game, mate. The keeper Laidlaw, I was just having a quick look at the squad. That boy Laidlaw, the goalkeeper, is injured, which I'm actually delighted for because that guy always plays with his skin every time I seem to watch him on the TV. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game. They're playing a 3-5, a variation 3-5-2, whether it's a flat 3-5-2 or a 3-5-1-1. They're going to try and make that pitch as compact as possible. As tight as it already is, they're going to make it just even more compact by packing the midfield. So, yeah, I don't really see us.
That was actually my next thing I was going to ask you, Willie. I was going to say, how do you think both teams will game plan for the match on the small pitch in Dingwall? That was actually what my next thing to ask you was.
They're gonna try and make a small pitch even smaller by compacting the midfield. So that's how I think they're gonna play it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I was thinking, heading in the game, we just want to get up the road, get the points. This is just one of those games at the end of the season. No one remembers much about them, but it just has to be 3 points on the board. That's all it is. So, yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a tough slog. It's going to be hard. It's going to be they're going to sit in tight and then try and hit us on the counter, especially with the small pitch. This is always a ground I hate watching the games on, like Celtic TV or whatever, because the camera angle is an absolute nightmare as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's going to be good fun. I think the key areas for us to focus on to win the game will be quick passing to try and unlock their defence before it gets set. I think that's the key thing. If they get back and get all their lines settled, it's going to be hard for us to do that. So what do you think the key areas will be, Willie? And are you expecting this to be high scoring or a tough slog, low scoring match?
Key areas is just getting the ball from back to front quickly, trying to get them try and get a goal and try and force them to step out and try and exploit spaces in behind then. If we can get them to step out, but they're usually quite rigid and they usually sit quite deep. They'd be quite happy just to come away with a 1-0 loss, I would say. So, yeah, is it going to be a high? The thing with Dingwall is it's either really, really stodgy game where you win by the all goal, like the Ralston 97th minute winner sort of game, or you just steamroll them 5-0. It's never There's never an in between sort of happy medium sort of game. You know what I mean? It's always one or the other. So I'm going to go for a tight game this time. I'm going to go for a tight 2-1 win.
Smell the Glove is saying it'll be a usual stuffy game, 2-0. Andrew Galea is saying a midget Aussie in their midfield. Yep, that was the guy up at it was on Central Coast. I can never remember his name because I thought he was kind of rubbish. RL77, the head height view, really selling the game to TV. Mahesh has got a comment about the A-League for you, Willie. So it's technically better than the SPFL. Celtic and Rangers wouldn't be guaranteed to finish first or second in the A-League.
I think Celtic.
I think the problem would be, Willie, that because it's a salary capped league, that's why it's more competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Gibson saying put Greg Taylor as striker. Andrew Goulet saying I disagree. Celtic is a step above the rest of the SPFL level. That's how I feel as well.
I think so too. Right.
Yeah. So basically, I was thinking win by any means. I think we'll win 2-0. But yeah, 3 points. And Maestro saying the thing about Dingwall is even the polar bears are frozen. So yeah, it's going to be a bit fresh up there. I just think depends how windy it is up there as well. Because watching some games up there, it looks brutal with the wind and how cold it is and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm expecting we'll go in there. You expecting much squad rotation, Willie, or are you thinking we're the same starting lineup again?
If anything, I think they might rest Kalmark, put Bernardo at the number 6 and play Engels and McCowan in front of him. I think that might happen. They may just play McCowan on the right, Bernardo and take Young off and put McCowan on the wing and just keep Kalmark in the midfield and Bernardo and Engels in there. But I don't expect much rotation. I think the squad will pretty much stay the same. They may want to put Kyogo in there just for a bit of movement. You know what I mean? It's fast, pacey, sort of in the smaller areas. But nah, I don't foresee too many changes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the upcoming fixture list. So we've got Ross County, then we've got Dundee away on Tuesday night, and then we have a game on Sunday. So it's like a game, then 4 days, then a game, then 4 days, then a game, then 4 days. Then a game after the young boys game is a game 3 days later. So, and then after that's 4 days until we play Villa in the Champions League. So it's going to be pretty chaotic from here for the next 3 weeks. So realistically, we're going to have some rotation, but yeah, I think we'll probably be rotating more. We'll go with a strong lineup here. I want to see Arnie Engels, dominate on that pitch so he can get through because, one of his first games for the club was up there and he struggled. So now he's flying. Let's see him get out there and absolutely tear him apart. And then we can rotate some guys in, I reckon, for the next game against Dundee. So, yeah, I'd be looking at same back line, goalkeeper, obviously. I actually think what you said, Willie, we'll play Luke out on the right. I wouldn't put Kun in. If he's not 100%, don't put him in the squad. We need him fit and fresh, ready for the young boys game. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking with the starting lineup.
Yeah.
I'll go through some comments, then we'll go to our final thoughts, William. We'll call it a night. So, yeah, we're just going through some stuff here. The way the weather is going, we'll be using an orange ball on Saturday. Maestro's saying -16 in Govan. RL77 is in the bipolar Bears after their Dundee game with any luck.
Yeah.
There you go. Smell the got some weather. It's sunny and cold in Dingwall on Saturday. So, and as McLaughlin saying, as I was going through the fixture list, as long as we're in the Champions League, it'll be chaotic. Yep. So, yeah, I think it's all to play for. Key thing is make sure we get 3 points on the board, support the team, and yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in for the pod. Appreciate it. If you can do so, make sure you like the podcast on our YouTube channel and comment away. Appreciate it all. Willie, you got a final thought?
Yeah, TV recommendations as usual. It's Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Quite good. I've been watching it with my kids this time. It's about kids who get lost in space and stuff like that. So it's my daughter's enjoyed it, so I've enjoyed it too. It's been quite enjoyable.
My final thought is it's kind of weird having the wrestling on Netflix. It just seems strange. So happy days. Oh, hail everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Hail, hail.